Listen, it's a pregame show. It's game day. It's been so long, y'all. I don't even know. I know we went live after media day, man. The Bulls are back. We're back. We about to have some fun. If this is your first time checking in to Chicago Bulls Central live pregame show, we got a treat for you, man. But we're going to go ahead and get into it all and more after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, make sure you guys are following the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform that there is. With that being said, hey, it's game day. The Chicago Bulls face off against the Milwaukee Bucks. We did get details that Giannis, Dame, and others are all going to be out this game. So, listen, don't expect a huge hell of a lot. If anybody was looking for this game to really kind of be a measuring stick in preseason, I don't know what to tell you. It was never going to be that. And I would not be surprised if the Bulls starters do not play much in today's game either, even though they're all going to be available, because this team isn't like when you have the Milwaukee Bucks that have two legit superstars on their team. It's a little bit different for the Chicago Bulls team. They're still trying to find their starting point guard, still trying to evolve their offense. So we're going to see more of our starters than what the Milwaukee Bucks fans are going to see of their starters, but don't expect to see a huge hell of a lot in it either, though. Waiting to see what that initial starting lineup is going to be announced for the Chicago Bulls as well. Who's going to get the start at point guard? There's been some things released that have kind of alluded to Kobe White being that starting point guard, which I would not be surprised if that's what Billy Donovan wants to get a look out first. Do not be surprised either if we see a different starting point guard in each one of these games. Don't be surprised with that either. Also, does Patrick Williams get the start at the 4? Some questions on that as well. Hey, I'm excited. Bulls basketball is back. I got on my Dennis Rodman tee. We're starting off with the throwback. Oh, best believe this, though. If y'all don't think the opening night drip is about to be absolutely exquisite, I don't think you guys know me quite yet. Because best believe, opening night, the drip on opening night is about to be, wait for it, legendary. All right, but let's go ahead and get into your guys' comments, man. If you guys can't tell, I'm excited to be back. Hopefully you guys are excited to be back as well, man. Let's get into these comments. CP Huncho says, Chicago Bulls is back. Absolutely, bro. Let's hope that we start off looking pretty good. PB and Patch, he changed his name to just Patch. Shout out to you, bro. Look at that evolution in that mug. Says it's game day. Finally, Bulls basketball is back. Definitely agree with you there, bro. Cisco Rodriguez in the building says, I'm so mad I got to work today. Hey, man, we're going to hold you down nonetheless, bro. I think C-Dub, Steve-O, and Bobby are probably going to be doing a live call over on their channel, Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys, so make sure you guys go and check that out. C-Dub is one of the best live callers in the business. Make sure y'all guys go and check him out over there. Let's see what else we got. Wolf says, Bulls back. Absolutely glad to have everyone back. I've stayed away from Shy since we lost to Heat. Any promise this season? The one promise, L, that I will say that I promised this season is it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting season, man. I get it. I'm not going to guarantee any win-loss record, anything like that. I feel pretty confident the Bulls are going to have about 45 wins this season. But, I think ultimately, like, if everything that we've heard about the evolution and how this Bulls team is trying to change the offense is legit, we should be playing a much better brand of offense as well, much more exciting brand of offense, but we'll see if that ends up being the case because as we know with Billy Donovan, he's one of the best gaslighters in the game. All right, Tay Hollins in the building. Haven't seen you around either for a while, brother. Says Chicago Bulls, let's go. C-Red, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Sean, C-Red from Sean. L says, and so it begins. Haize, new season. Listen, a new season always brings about different energy, right? And I think that's one thing with me. Like when I initially started this podcast, if those that have been around this long will remember, like I wasn't doing pregame shows. I wasn't doing halftime hangouts. I was barely doing postgame live streams. It was about halfway through my first year of doing this, the first season of me doing this podcast, where I put it to the listeners. I was like, hey, would you guys be interested? And at that time, I had asked, I said, would you guys want a pregame or would you want a halftime or would you want a postgame? And I think everybody voted. The biggest part of the vote was for postgames, but now look, I do all three. So, it's just the evolution of the show, man. BKR Sport, my brother says, hey, my man, here we go, brother. Absolutely, man. Hey, listen, Hey, listen, we still got to get to that 20K so we can get you to Chicago, bro. You already know what it is. Mike in the building says, what up, Haize? What's going on, Mike Hill? Glad to have you back, brother. Melvin says, thoughts if we should sign Nerlens Noel? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not keen on the Bulls really signing anyone else. I'm not high on Carleek either, but here's the thing. I want to see Billy Donovan actually use. And so if we sign Nerlens Noel, he's not going to get consistent minutes. I would much rather see those minutes go to a player like Julian Phillips, even if it is 10 minutes every 5 games. I would rather see it go to Julian Phillips so that we can develop and get a look at the young guy who has a bunch of defensive upside, but way more offensive upside as well that Nerlens Noel would have. I would rather see that invested in Julian Phillips personally. That's my thought process in it. I wouldn't be mad if they signed Nerlens Noel. Like I said, he's not going to be a player that plays a lot regardless, but you never know. You never know. Rondo 2 Raw says, let's go. Bulls basketball is back, baby. Absolutely. You already know. Cornelius Smith in the building says, we here, see Red Nation stand up. You already know what it is, man. Come on. My boy Haize, what's good? What's going on, YNG? Glad to have you back in the building as well. Been a minute, brother. Marco in the building says, Forza Chicago di Milano. Listen, I don't speak Spanish, but I'm pretty sure with the exclamation mark, that is nothing but positivity, and we welcome that, my brother. Glad to have you in the building. What's up, Haize? Been following you all summer. Love to see the way your channel has grown up. You have grown. Love it, brother. Voicemail coming soon. I appreciate that, Tay Hollins. Oh, by the way, so as you guys probably have seen, I did not drop the usual Saturday mailbag into super late last night, right? So I dropped it. It's honestly dropped more on Sunday, but we're going to call it the Saturday mailbag. I'm still doing the Sunday mailbag today, this afternoon, but since there's a Bulls game, I wanted to wait to give you guys a chance to call in with your thoughts right after the Bulls first preseason game. So the key thing is, after the game ends, I'm going to go do Chicago Bears Central. So you guys are going to have about an hour to an hour and a half to get in your voicemails after the game. Get those voicemails in after the game, and then I'm going to record the Sunday mailbag episode, but I want you guys will have an opportunity to get your thoughts in. Here's the number for the mailbag. It's also in the description. It's 773-270-2799. So get those voicemails in for me right after the game with your thoughts on the game, things that you saw, who the starting point guard was, if Billy Donovan's quotes about evolving the offense, if you feel they were legit. I really want you guys to call in a big way after this game. So right after the game ends, get to calling, leaving those voicemails, because about an hour and a half after the game ends, I'm going to record the mailbag for Sunday, and I hope to have your guys' thoughts on that. So there you guys go with that one. So you know what kind of the plan is, the content plan for the rest of the day is. Let's see what else we got. YNG also says, we back, baby, we back. Absolutely. No, we found out starting point guard. Oh, did they officially announce the starting point guards, Kobe White today? Let's see. I haven't seen that on the Bulls Twitter. I know that it was alluded to, but I don't think that they've officially announced that personally. But if they have, I'm not surprised. Shout out to Kobe if that's the case. But yeah. If Bulls don't have a good record by December, do you see Billy Donovan getting the boot? No. I've talked about this pretty heavily. Billy Donovan, keep in mind, he's still, his contract extension doesn't start till next year, but he already signed a contract extension. We don't know the years. We don't know the money. When you fire a coach in the NBA, you still have to pay them over the course of that contract. So considering that extension hasn't officially kicked in, no, I don't think that the Bulls fire Billy Donovan. I think that this season would have to be such a failure. And I'm talking about 20 wins or less the Chicago Bulls would have to win for them to fire Billy Donovan. I don't think, regardless of how much we struggle or not this season, that Billy Donovan's seat gets hot yet. I think we got 2 more seasons after this one of Billy Donovan for sure before that seat starts getting hot. I'm not saying that that's what I want, but just kind of knowing this team, knowing how the front office, knowing how the ownership group works, I just don't necessarily see it personally. I don't see it. We supporters down in the chat comments, my man, never get it twisted. Huh? We supporters down in the chat comments, man, never get. Well, we already know. Like, come on, Chicago Bulls Central got the best commenters and the smartest commenters in the basketball world, bro. That's not even in question. Oh shit, this is Billy Donovan's gum, by the way. I'm a new man. Oh shit, shout out to Billy Donovan's gum. Shout out to that, bro. YNG says, dig the Bulls shirt, my boy. Come on, y'all know the Bulls drip is legit. What's good, Haize? We back. What's going on, MJ? Let's get Haize to 15K today. Hey, I don't know if that's going to happen today. What are we 248 away from 15K. I tell you what, if we get 15K today, I'm going to do something strange. I don't know what it is, but something strange is coming down the pipeline if that happens. I can go ahead and guarantee that now. But all right, let's keep it moving. MJ said, "What's good, Haize? We back." Absolutely, MJ. Glad to have you in the building as well, my brother. It's Pat time. Let's go take the leap. Listen, I will say that quote from Patrick Williams and him talking about how he wants to take more shots, how he wants to be a bigger part of the offense, how, his mentality needs to change. Hey, let's hope so. Let's hope so. This roster is good, but there's no trust in the coach. Well, here's the thing, and I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I don't know Hiram, if you're new here, I'm not a Billy Donovan guy. So let's just go ahead and put that out there. I'm not a huge guy that's positive on Billy Donovan. I will say this. I don't think Billy Donovan is a terrible head coach, but like I always say, that doesn't mean he's a good head coach for the Chicago Bulls. But I will say this is that Billy Donovan is a good enough coach that you should be getting to the playoffs. Right now, how far you can go, all that is determined by some things, and I don't think there's any way that Billy Donovan is a head coach here by the time the Bulls win a title again, which let's hope that happens in my lifetime. But, he's good enough that where the Bulls are right now, that the Bulls still should be making the playoffs, and by that, I mean avoiding the play-in. So, we'll end up seeing with that. We'll end up seeing. BKR Sport in the building as well. So it's 2 a.m. here in Australia. Keen is lit. Listen, bro, I'll tell you what, man. I appreciate you for all you do for Bulls and just how you always been a supporter of me as well. And listen, I grew up over in Germany, so I understand how late you have to stay up to be able to enjoy Bulls basketball, man. And I think, people here stateside will never really quite understand that until they have to do that themselves. Cause it's real. It's real. Like when I was over in Germany, like shit, through middle school and high school and some elementary. And like, I remember I used to have to ask my dad for permission, like stay up to like 3 and 4 a.m. to watch Chicago Bulls games and then have to be up by 7 to go to school. Like, but hey, when you love the team, you got to do what you got to do, man. Seda Making says that shirt's raw as fuck. Hey, listen, because I know it's gonna come. Where do you get your drip? Where do you do this? I tell you guys all the time. I don't have any type of exclusive. Let me not say that. I can get some stuff early. Some stuff I do get early. Like this hat I got early. I got this hat a month before it came out. But other than that, I get all my stuff from New Era, Fanatics, Clark Street Sports, I think is what it is. That's a new one that I just got put on to. And Culture Kings. That is where 99% of my drip comes from. Though one of those 4 places. I don't like, and I buy some stuff from like some like stores on like what's the thing called where people make their own merch? Like I can't even remember. Some stuff I get from there too if it happens to come across my timeline. But listen, most of the stuff I get, everybody can get. Everybody can get it. If y'all understand where that meme came from, shout out to you. CP Huncho says the Bears have been a nightmare. We need the Bulls to pick it up. It's a dangerous spot when we're like, hey man, we need the Bulls to help pick up the city of Chicago. Sydney says, I don't know why I'm nervous, even though it's a preseason game. Do you think this game could be telling going into the regular season? I don't, because Milwaukee's already said that most of their, like Giannis, Dame, I think Middleton as well, like they're not playing. So it's really like, I think the way that I look at preseason, right? I don't look at preseason to say like, oh, well, we can compete with the team that we're playing against. I look at preseason to kind of get a feel for the style of play, what the Bulls are trying to do on offense, how the shot progression goes, right? That's what I try to take away from preseason games. I don't really try to, look too deeply into preseason, because in preseason it's kind of a way also to kind of figure out your rotations, figure out what group of guys get the best out of each other, right? Those are the type of things that I'm looking for as well in preseason. So I don't think it's going to tell a lot. But hey, you never know. You never know. Shay in the building says, Shay, Haize, what up? It's been a long time since I've been in the chat. Well, we've only done, other than I did the live stream after Media Day, but before then, we hadn't done a live stream in like 3 months. So you haven't really missed a lot, bro. Like I think we did live streaming during the draft. We did some live streaming, the opening up of free agency. But we really haven't done a lot of live streaming over the summer, less than what we did last summer. Like last summer, I did the Bulls Crisis Hotlines, right? Which I feel like I should have probably done this summer, if I'm just being honest with you guys. But like, it felt like most Bulls fans really kind of understood the moves the Bulls did. Whereas last season, we signed who do we bring in? Drummond. We brought in Goran Dragic, right? And kind of Bulls fans were really kind of panicking, right? And then the Lonzo thing, we had a crisis hotline over that last offseason. This offseason was kind of more of a straightforward thing. So I never want to force the live streams, but best believe this season we back full bore. We ready to go. It's going to be fun for sure. The Bulls ceiling will be the 3 seed from CP Huncho. Here's what I'll say, right? You got, of course, Boston. You got Milwaukee. Those two teams, I think, are head and shoulders above everyone else, even though I've seen some people like try to make the logic, well, since the Milwaukee Bucks lost to the Miami Heat, that actually means that they're a middle-of-the-pack team. I'm like, hey, bro, stop smoking dope. But outside of that, like, and then you can throw in the Cavs if they take a leap, right? I think the Cavs could be a really, really good team this year. I doubted them last year, so I'm going to try not to do the same thing that I did last year in doubting them. The New York Knicks, middle of the pack. The Brooklyn Nets, middle of the pack. The Atlanta Hawks, middle of the pack. Miami Heat, middle of the pack. Chicago Bulls, middle of the pack. Toronto Raptors, middle of the pack. Indiana Pacers are that team that could be middle of the pack, but if those young guys, if Ben Mathurin takes a leap and that backcourt of him and Tyrese Halliburton, they can go from a team that was outside of the play-in into probably one of the top 5 seeds. So look out for them too. But there's a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference all kind of jockeying. Like there's like 5 to 6 teams jockeying for that 3 through 6 spot. And so we'll end up seeing how that works out. And, if the Bulls, that branded defense, that team comes together well, it could be a pretty good season for the Chicago Bulls. So we'll see with that, man. Let's see what else we got. We got Love, bro, from Cisco. Glad to have you in the building, bro. I know I read a comment from you earlier. Carter starting point guard. Well, I think signs are pointing to Kobe starting this game. They haven't officially announced it, so we'll wait till the official announcement to call it. Usually they announce the starting lineup about 30 minutes before game time. That's what they did during the regular season last year. So let's hope within the next 11 minutes we get that starting lineup announced, because I know a lot of people are kind of waiting on that. So we'll see what happens. Which Bulls player is going to have an impact this season? Well, I think they're all going to have an impact in their own way. But if you're talking about like a surprise impact, I'm going to say either Kobe White or Patrick Williams. I'm putting my money on the most, with an outside chance of it being Torrey Craig. I really do look at Torrey Craig, and not to say that he's going to have huge statistical nights, right? I don't think Torrey Craig is going to have this season where the stats jump out at you. But I think when you look at when Torrey Craig's on the court, who he's guarding, where he's guarding, his communication on defense, his ability to hit open shots and not really hesitate to take those open shots, right? What lineups that because when you look at Torrey Craig, he could be one of the most versatile weapons on the Chicago Bulls as far as who you line him up with, right? He can play next to Patrick Williams. You can have him or Pat at the 3. I actually think with P. Will slimming down some, maybe you do see more. If you see Billy Donovan kind of maximize P. Will's minutes by really using him as the 4, he's probably going to be the starting 4. But then when DeMar sits, you're going to see maybe Patrick Williams move to the 3, Torrey Craig come up. But Torrey Craig can play next to P. Will. He can play next to DeMar. He can play next to Vooch. He can play next to Andre Drummond, right? You can go small ball and even play him at center depending on the team that you're playing, and then have a lineup of him, P. Will, DeMar, Zach, right, Kobe, or even Javon Carter that can get out there and do some things defensively. So I really do see Torrey Craig being a kind of how, like, you remember last year where Derrick Jones Jr., he always made an impact. His minutes weren't consistent, but he always made an impact. Torrey Craig can be all of that. Plus, I think he's going to get way more consistent of minutes than what Derrick Jones Jr. did. And do not be surprised if Billy Donovan gets really creative in how he uses Torrey Craig. And I know, like, people hear that and they're like, well, you're putting a lot on role players, but most players in the NBA are role players. And I think when you look at things that really take teams over the top as far as like what their expectations are, is when you have role players that really just dig down and do their role excellently, right? For example, like go back. I know I'm going back a lot for the younger people who are watching, but like when you look at James Posey, right, and what he meant to the teams that he was on, those Miami Heat teams, those Boston Celtics teams. Then he went to Memphis where he didn't really have the biggest impact. I think he went to Memphis. But like he was a role player that the statistics never jumped out at you. But when you looked at the matchups and the lineups that he was in, those lineups were always some of the best for the teams that he played for. I think Torrey Craig can have that type of impact on a Bulls team that needs role players to understand and execute their roles at a high level. I really do think he can be that. Just pray we don't see the same BS we've seen last season, but I believe it's going to be a good season. I mean, it's going to be some of that. And for anyone who's hoping that the Chicago Bulls just start off the season firing on all cylinders, it may take a minute, right? But I do think once they come along, we're going to see a much better team. I got high hopes for the Bulls. You really have the talent to match up well with most teams, and the two guys that can make big shots in the final moments. If your young core can step up, the sky's the limit. Hey, YNG, I agree with you, right? Like, it's a lot of ifs, but those ifs are still realistic, right? As far as now, you have, like, we can get back to what we were the first season this team came together. When Zach and DeMar were a true 1A, 1B, they were both averaging 17.5 shots per game and both having highly efficient offensive seasons. When you have that, hopefully we're using Vooch a little bit better now. Growth from the other players around it. The sky can be the limit for the Chicago Bulls. Now, we don't have a one-for-one replacement for Lonzo, and they're going to have to do it via committee, right? It's going to have to come down to with Alex Caruso, Kobe, Javon Carter, all kind of filling in and collectively bringing a lot of what Lonzo Ball brought together. And if they do that, it's gonna be a fun season for the Chicago Bulls. I think a lot of the doubters around the Chicago Bulls are really going to be surprised for how this team plays. At least I hope so. We'll see. Zachariah says, man, I'm so excited. If you can't tell, bro, I'm excited too. Like, I'm talking fast as shit. I'm trying to slow myself down. I'm just excited to be getting Bulls basketball back, bro. I'm not even going to hold you, man. Like, I told you guys before, like, the reason why I cover the teams that I do, the Bulls, the Sky, the Bears, right? Because I'm truly passionate about everything those teams do. Like, I'd be talking about those teams every day if I didn't have this show. And so, it makes it easier. But, like, I live and breathe Chicago Bulls basketball, and it's different. It's a different feel. Fall is also my favorite season, so we get basketball back. My favorite team during my favorite season and my favorite holidays during the fall. It's all going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Caruso finna put clamps on Dame. Well, Dame's not playing tonight. Brazil popular. Dame is not playing tonight. He's been ruled out. Him and Giannis will not play tonight. So, unfortunately, we don't get to see much of that. But we'll see what we get to see for the rest of the season. But we're not going to get to see any of Caruso locking up Dame. Not tonight. Let's see. Do we have any starting lineups yet? I keep checking. They haven't officially released anything yet. So. Patch in the building. He says, Billy's been talking highly of Julian Phillips. He taking some spot when the season actually starts. I mean, listen, I don't know if he takes anyone's spot, but you got to keep in mind, Billy Donovan usually goes 10 players deep, and that 10th player can rotate. And when you look at the Chicago Bulls roster, right, Kobe, Zach, DeMar, P. Will, Vooch, Jalen Carter, Javon Carter, Alex Caruso, Andre Drummond. That's 8, right? That's 8 players. I think I missed somebody's name in that, right? Ayo Dosunmu, Julian Phillips, right? Those are going to be players that kind of, they fluctuate in and out. I do think Julian Phillips can play a similar role to Derrick Jones Jr., where, for some games we didn't see Derrick Jones Jr. for 5 games, and then we'd see him for 3 games in a row. We wouldn't see him again for 2 games, right? So those things are going to come along. So we'll see. It's amazing how much coverage the media is giving the Bears. I can't find an end to it. Well, listen, the Bears are an interesting team. The development of Justin Fields is something that the NFL world is watching. And I think on top of that, now with the Bears potentially having the top 2 picks in the draft, teams are like, they're going to be a lot of coverage, because then now that media team is going to say, hey, is it going to be like, don't be, by week 10, it's going to be nothing but Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams potential. Like, do not be surprised at that, right? So, BKR Sports says, my guy, remember 20K. I'm there, man. You'll be there within the first few weeks of the season. Trust, quality content, people will flock to you. Here's what I'll say, man. I think people, I always forget. Like, I had a goal of getting to, I think it was 5K. I was like, if I get to 5K subscribers, I'm good. I'm not. I don't have any inside source. Now I actually do, which is crazy, right? I was a guy talking Chicago Bulls in my basement, and like how the content has grown, how the channel has grown. This is now, we're starting our 3rd season with the Chicago Bulls, right? It's 2nd year, but 3rd season, and so I'm really excited for this, man. At the end of the day, like, I have some of the best listeners, viewers, commenters in the game, and so. Yeah, I used to get wrapped up in like subscriber numbers and things like that, because I felt like that was like adding validity. But at this point now, like, I'll say this, I don't care if I don't gain another subscriber the rest of the time I'm doing this. There's not many people that's better at this than what I do. period. And that goes to, I don't care if you're on ESPN, I don't care if you're on NBC, I don't care if you're on Fox Sports. There's not many people in the game that are better than me at doing this part of the job. And and listen, I'm respected now in the Bulls community, which is crazy, bro. When somebody like Tony Gill is like, yeah, I watch a show every day and is at Bulls Fest and stops and comes to talk to me for a second, like, I don't take that lightly, right? I don't take that lightly because these are people that I was listening to for years. Matt Peck, Big Dave, Tony Gill, right? I've gotten to talk to Casey Johnson. We haven't done an episode yet, right? Bulldog, right? These are people that they're like, yeah, I love what you do. That's Stacey King. Like, that's Stacey fucking King, bro. Like, that's enough for me, man. And so this journey has been nothing but positive for my life. It's been nothing but reaffirming. And I'll say this, I have fun in what I do. And now the fact that I'm mentioned amongst people that I've listened to for decades plus in some cases. Like, I was listening to Matt Peck and Jordan Malley when they were doing the Debatables podcast. That was even before Locked on Bulls. At night when I worked overnight at a hospital, right? Like, listening to Doug Tonis when I was fucking 22 years old, working overnight, waxing floors, right? Like, now, like, I can say that I'm mentioned in the same breath as those people. That's crazy to me, man. That's literally one of the craziest things in all of this to happen to me, and I don't take that lightly at all because, like, I put in work on this, but it's more passion-driven than anything, right? But let's move on, man. J7 says, we back, missed these streams. I missed y'all, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Definitely missed y'all. Agree. Use every chance to give rookie NBA level reps. I agree with you, bro. I think that's what it is. Like, I understand why a lot of Bulls fans want Nerlens Noel. I can't like, especially as an end the bench depth piece, you can do a lot worse than Nerlens Noel. But to me, we have to start investing in seeing what we have in our future. And if Julian Phillips, as much as Billy Donovan has talked positively about him, to me, rather than see a vet like Nerlens Noel get 10 minutes every 5 games, give those 10 minutes to Julian Phillips. Are we going to be able to tell a lot from it? No, but that gets him NBA reps. That gets him, helps extend that game in the NBA game to slow down for him, right? That's what I want to see. But let's see. High hopes for a new season from Rambo's Last Blood. Shout out to that username. That's a great username. Absolutely, bro. Let's get Haize to 15K people. Let's go Bulls. Hey, listen, it'll come when it comes, man. I'm truly at peace, bro. Truly at peace. Like, I know last year was the rush to 10K, right? I kept trying to push for 10K. And at this point now, like, I'm chill, bro. Like, we're gonna get there when we're gonna get there. Are we eventually gonna get there? I hope so. But I'm not really, like, it is what it is, right? Like, it is what it is. Like, I tell you what, the way that I look at it now, and it sounds cocky, but it's just a reality. At this point, people who are missing out on Chicago Bulls Central, they're missing something. I'm not missing out on shit, right? I'm not missing out on shit. I'm here kicking it with 218 people in a live stream for a pregame show that showed up to kick it with me and talk Bulls basketball. I'm winning, bro. Anybody who sleep on Chicago Bulls Central, anybody who doesn't know Chicago Bulls Central at this point, they missing out on something. I'm winning right now, bro. Like, I met Steve-O here, who is my little brother for life. Met C-Dub and Bobby, who, like, we breaking bread. We making money together. Big Kev, right? Uncle Mingo, like, Auntie Goon. Like, these are all people that, like, are part of my actual life now. I'm winning, man. Like, it is what it is, man. And that's what you guys are going to see this season. Like, it's a more calm and level-headed Haize at this point now, bro. Like, Petty Roosevelt doesn't pop out as much anymore because, like, the way I look at it is this. I'm delivering the best content for Chicago Bulls every single day on all of YouTube. And that's not a slight to anybody else because Jamal is amazing. Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys, amazing. CHGO Bulls, amazing. I love what all these motherfuckers do. But I tell you what, it's a tall test to be better than Haize. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. And because of that, I'm good, bro. I'm good. The following, also, bro, my brother, I'm a fan of your channel. Well, thank you, Jasper, man. I appreciate you so much, bro, for being a part of this. And hopefully this season, guys, you guys have fun, man. We're going to have a lot of fun this season. Eric says this, on our way to the game with the oldest. Let's go, C-Red. Shout out to you, Eric, and getting the Bulls game in with your oldest, bro. Hopefully the Bulls get a win, man. You're in Milwaukee, though? Maybe you live there. But, hey, shout out to you, bro. I hope the Bulls really do show up in a big way for you today. Haize, we back at it for a new season. You already know, R. Come on, bro. We definitely back at it. L says, hope Alex Caruso worked on a 3-point shot. 3-and-D would be great for him. Listen, here's the thing. They've added 3-point shooting. I don't care. I know that's not a common mindset with Bulls fans. I'm not saying anybody got to change it for me. Oh, they just announced, I told you, 30 minutes before game time. Starting 5 for tonight. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. Your official starting 5 for tonight. Hey, I'm happy for Kobe. I really did think Javon Carter would get the start, but I'm happy for Kobe. Kobe's growth last season was real. And, hey, Kobe gets the opportunity. He's going to get the first crack at it now to be that starting point guard. Let's see how the offense looks with him. Shout out to Kobe White, man. Kobe is this. The growth of Kobe and the maturity of Kobe White as a person has been amazing to see, bro. It's really been amazing to see. Let's see. I've been following you all summer. I'm a fan of you and your podcast. Well, thank you, Jasper. I appreciate you, bro. That really does mean the world to me, bro. And I don't say that just to say it. It really does, bro. B Mace in the building says, fire shirt, bro. I'm a classic, man. Shout out to B Mace, man. Y'all go check out 2 Drinks with the Fellas, bro. Like that's a goated podcast, bro. Shay, am I the only one to think it's stupid Dame Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo on playing today, especially when it's the first preseason? No, I mean, listen, what do they really have to gain? Like, there's nothing for them to, I guess when you talk about adding a new addition, trying to fill out your roster, but like, this is why I said what I said when the Milwaukee Bucks came together. The Milwaukee Bucks are fighting for something different than the Chicago Bulls are. They're fighting for a title. And they want to make sure everybody's fully healthy and ready to go for the most part of the season. They're going to get rest where they can, especially with the NBA's new rest rule that doesn't apply to the preseason. So sit them where you can, man. I'm not surprised with it at all. It is what it is. Taurus in the building says, what's good, y'all? See Red Nation, what's good to you, fam? Glad to have you in the building. L with another one says, Patrick Williams need to break out as of now. It's time for him to show improvement that has meaning. And that's the thing. Patrick Williams has shown improvement every year. Patrick Williams showed improvement last year. Now, I don't know if the leap comes this year. I think it may be another step. Now, if a leap does come with what this offense has going on, shout out to P. Will. But I'm more of a patient dude when it comes to P. Will, man. We'll see. Marcus in the building. Woo Bulls basketball's back. Glad to see you back in the building, Mark. My big brother there, little brother. I think I'm actually older than you. Shout out to Mark, though. Chicago ain't for everybody, says Yo Haize. What up? What's going on, fam? You and Pat should do Locked On Bears. Here's what I'll say. Shout out to Lauren Cox. Lauren Cox ain't me and Pat, and that just is what it is. He's an extremely intelligent guy. He knows the game of football very well. But here's what I'll say. Like, there's a bunch – podcasting and YouTube are different. If you're good, you can find a way to merge both. Lauren Cox is an amazing podcaster in the sense that he's going to deliver the information, and you're going to be able to get it all in one-stop shop. Does he have a camera presence? No, not really. But listen, that's why I have Chicago Bears Central. You want my Bears content, go and follow Chicago Bears Central, right? Me and Pat may be working on something. We may be working on something to – all I can say is this. We're talking, and me and Pat may be working on something that is for all Chicago sports. We just got to figure out the schedule. But just look out for that. Just look out for that. My guy Haize, don't sleep, keep working. Let's go, Bulls. Let's get started on a winning season. Shout out to you for sure, brother. Paul says, my favorite Bulls content creator. I enjoy your shows. Well, thank you, Paul. Listen, I know I'm not for everybody, but hey, I appreciate the ones that rock with me. Haize, please remember the Chicago Bulls will have a 50-win this season. You heard it here first. Hey, from your mouth to God. First, your mouth to God's ears of the season, but from your mouth to God's ears, brother. I don't think D. Terry is going to show us much improvement. I have no expectation out of him this season. Hope he can grow and he can possibly be more mature going into next season. Well, listen, here's the way that I look at it is this. There's only so much growing you can get if you're not getting NBA minutes. You can grow. And so I mean, we've seen players, right, kind of sit out. Anthony Simons was one. The Portland Trailblazers kind of hit him down in the G League, let him develop there. And they felt like they really had a uncovered gem. Dalen Terry is a very raw player. And I think the Bulls now having not just a player development coach, but they have a player development team now. They have a whole department that is focused on player development. It's going to help players like Dalen Terry. It's still going to help players like Ayo. It's still going to help players like Julian Phillips. It's definitely going to help Adama Sanago, right? But I still think that Dalen Terry needs to get NBA minutes at some point to really kind of acclimate to that part of the game. Dalen Terry, if you guys watch, and we'll be doing Windy City Bulls updates, one episode a week for just the Windy City Bulls this season. But Dalen Terry showed a lot in the G League last year. Not a lot as a shooter, but like his ability to get out in transition, the defense, the playmaking, right? Especially in transition. He still needs to work on half court, but there's only so much that you can even do at that level. He needs NBA minutes at some point, and let's hope so. Let's hope so. Bearded Caruso will make a difference. That's wild. Let's hope so. Julius Blackwell in the building says, my children's mother is a military brat. She born and grew up over there in Germany. I wasn't born there. I did spend a lot of my life in Germany and Italy because I was a military brat, so you already know. Let's see. King Kofu. What up, Haize? We back. Have no expectations this season. Just going to sit back and see what happens. What do you have against using C's, bro? What do you have against using C's? But shout out to you, bro. I'm glad to have you back, bro. Ray the Barber, my big brother there, says, Haize, I said it last night. There's 3 people who just play well this year for the Bulls to have success. Io, Kobe, P. Will. Listen, I tell you what, Io is really going to have a difficult ability to crack the rotation consistently unless he's amazing. And Io, when the chips, keep in mind, Io came into the league, people expected him to mainly be in the G League his rookie year. He played so good specifically on the defense that Billy Donovan had to get him in there. So we'll see how that continues, bro. Let's see what the Bulls do this year. I hope this year is better. I've been a supporter all summer long and always, bro. Thank you, Dylon. Glad to have you in the building. Chicago ain't for everyone says we should have got Drew. There's no realistic ability for us to get Drew. And Drew definitely ups the Bulls ceiling, but he ups the Bulls ceiling to the point where the expectation is now second round. Doesn't make the Bulls championship contender. You're not going to give up what they end up getting for him, two unprotected first round picks. The Bulls weren't going to give that up, not for a player that could end up being a one-year rental and doesn't really change your ceiling a huge hell of a lot. Drew is amazing, and Drew is the closest you can probably get for Alonzo Ball replacement, but it really didn't make sense to trade future assets for Drew for a player that could walk away in a year. That never really made sense, and I've always been on that. Kyle Talkington back in the building says, glad to be back. Thanks for all the offseason content, Haize. Excited for the season to get started. Intrigued to see how the offense looks this preseason. Completely agree with you, bro. Completely agree with you. Melvin says, by the way, last comment, is sad our boy Javonte Green is still a free agent. I thought a contender would have signed him by now. I say this. I think for Javonte not to be signed, it really does have to be that there's something serious going on with that knee injury. That's just my personal opinion. That's nothing that I've heard. Nothing that nobody's told me anything behind the scenes. But to me, for Javonte not to have a deal, it has to be that injury is it's a serious knee injury there going on. Guys, like the video. Show Haize some love. Appreciate you, BKR. Haize, go. Guess who's back? Jello YT in the building. Glad to have you in the building, brother. Lano says, we're back, Haize. Anxious to see how much Devon and Torrey add to this team. Completely agree with you, brother. Completely agree with you. Ivan says, I hope the Bulls are competitive and win more so Petty doesn't need to pull up much. Hey, you're going to see very, very little of Petty Roosevelt this year. Very little of Petty Roosevelt. Let's see. I'm gonna. So if I skip some of your guys' comments, I try to read all of them, especially in preseason. But I'm gonna skip because there's a lot of you guys in here today. A lot of comments, and everybody's excited. Can't overlook my boy JDH says lame Dame not playing. That's funny, JDH. That's hilarious, brother. Haize is gonna drop a Chicago control verse. That's funny. Hey, it's not. Listen, what it is, it's not even worth it, bro. Like these motherfuckers know I'm better than them. Brandy Nicole says, "Haize, what's going on, Brandy? Glad to have you back in the building as well." Nico says, "It's all love, Haize. Glad to have you here, Mister." I literally started talking about this already, bro. Like I don't get it from anywhere exclusive. You have access to everywhere that I have access to. I get it from Lids. Well, Fanatics is where I order a lot of stuff from. New Era is where I order a lot of stuff from, both clothes and hats. Clark Street Sports is where I get a lot of stuff from, and Culture Kings. Outside of that, I may find the little ends and odd Bulls drip thing from like elsewhere. Like one of my favorite Bulls shirts actually came from Sheen, which is crazy enough. Like, so some of that, you get it from everywhere. The Moon says Dale is a massive bust. No, he's not. Dalen Terry is not. You can't call a player a bust. He's 20 years old and has been in the NBA one full season yet. No, he's not. I know, like, we live in a microwave society where everybody wants things all quick. We want to make these decisions quick and think that, oh, you just say, no, Dalen Terry's not a bust yet, period. He's not a bust yet. Could he end up going that way? Sure, there's a possibility of that, but Dalen Terry isn't a bust. This, by the way, this is one of my new favorite Bulls hats. It's just, it looks regular, but it's quilted in the front and it's thicker. So, like, in the winter, that mug's gonna be real lit. So simplicity. Oh shit! When I drop down, all right. Got this one here. This has always been one of my favorites. This is here, which is almost very similar to this one. Very slight differences there. You know, it is what it is. That's just the hats I have on my desk. There's always a hat in reach and distance. Always. Let's see what else we got. Steve-O in the building. Shout out to my little brother Steve-O, man. He held down the channel for me yesterday. Y'all give Steve-O some love, bro. Y'all going to see Steve-O a lot around here this season, for sure. All right, let's jump down some. Young City 1 says, the voice of the people is here to stay. You are the best at this shit, which is why we choose you. I appreciate that, brother. Listen, I'm going to keep going around, man. I ain't going nowhere no time soon. God willing, bro. God willing. God keeps giving me the voice. I'm going to keep talking. Sitting Dame, Giannis, and Chris mid makes sense. Don't want too much tape out there on them this season. They ain't even started yet. But Campaign, hey, listen, shout out to Campaign, bro. Shout out to Campaign. Haize, thanks for having my back on the Bears post-game show. LOL, that was hilarious. Oh, bro, like I had to, man, because you know you my guy, Tony. Like you funny as shit, and I think because I do know you, and that's another thing. Like we've been doing these live post-game shows. Like I really know some of you guys. Like of course surface level, I don't know a lot like with your family life and stuff, but like I know you guys, and so like I see stuff, and I'm like, oh, Tony's just being Tony. And some people will take that and be like, oh, Tony's in there talking shit. Like, nah, Tony's being Tony. Jay Glover says, Pat will not be the beast we need. It's all media day talk. Again, this team isn't set up for him to be a beast. What we need Patrick Williams to do is go out there and be what he was last season. The least scored on player in isolation with making key improvements. Be more willing to take shots. I don't think it's all media day talk. I think that Patrick Williams and the growth and people realizing what they need from him, but again, temper that. People that expect P. Will just because he was a 4th overall pick on this team to average 18 points per game are missing the point. That's not going to ever be P. Will's role while this current team construction is what it is. Haize, bro, still killing it. Love to see it. What do you think of Onalop Bidham? Could he be our Tony Kukoc? Listen, I do think that the Bulls are heavily invested in Onalop Bidham. And I think that him being down in the G is just to give him some time to adjust to the NBA style of game. The three-point line's a little bit out. There's more physicality. But Onalop Bidham is going to be, if not this season, by next year, Onalop Bidham's going to be in that Bulls rotation. I love him. I love the intensity he plays with. Is he the greatest on-ball defender? No, he's not, right? I'm not even going to try to sell you that story. But what Onalop is a guy that's definitely going to give effort on both sides of the ball, and he could be a pretty damn good shooter, so for sure. Says, I don't know how I met this crazy motherfucker on here. Hey, bro, like God be working in mysterious ways, man. Taurus Law says, Haize, do you think Zach DeMar Voot should have set out well since Dame and Giannis aren't playing? Here's what I'll say is no, because the Bulls need reps. They are still trying to find out their starting point guard, right? Kobe's starting this game, but like I said, I would not be surprised unless things go amazingly well that we get Javon or Alex or somebody different starting at point guard next game. They're going to try. They want to see what this team makeup looks like. And while Kobe has been on this team, they really want to see with the changes that they're trying to make to offense. They're trying to play faster. They're trying to take quicker shots. They want to take more threes. Let's see if the talk is real and they are playing more through Nikola Vucevic down low, because that changes a lot of things well. So I think the Chicago Bulls need to be playing their players right now. I think so. Let's see. Do you see Carlik Jones mainly with the Windy City Bulls again this year? Probably, Michael. Probably. Bro, I wake up looking for some content from you and Pat. You guys not only give great content, but you guys are freaking hilarious, man. Keep up the great stuff, my boy. It's funny because, like, I think, and just being real, right? You guys know I'm going to always be real. I'm one of my harshest critics, and Pat will say the same thing. When me and Pat started Locked on Bulls together, I think people forgot we had only ever done one episode together. And that was a live call. So it wasn't like we were having this conversation back and forth. Me and Pat's chemistry for Locked On Bulls, I would say probably started at like a 1.5. And now our chemistry out of 10 is like a 12 or 20. Like, me and Pat have such a shorthand with each other where, like, we know how to pick up on each other's jokes, and we also know what to say to trigger each other, to get certain things out of each other, and that is a make of a great show. And so, you know, me and Pat, we working on some things outside of Locked On, because I think one thing me and Pat also realize is that the confines of Locked On really kind of limit us as well. Now, we love doing Locked On. We're never going to stop doing Locked On, but we kind of need our space to do our own thing as well. So be on the lookout for something like that, man. Let's see what else we got. He's a blood. Oh, that's why he can't say the C's. That makes sense. That makes sense. King Kofu out here, blood ganging. That's is what it is. Super duper Danko in the building says, yo, let's go. We back, baby. Somehow, some way, this is about to be a good basketball season for us. I feel it. Hey, listen, from your mouth to God's ears, my brother. Let's hope that that is the case, because I really, truly do hope so. Cornelia says, Steve-O speaks, I thought Haize knew I put double C's on everything. That's funny. That's funny. Should have let Io walk. Why? We couldn't have replaced him with anything else. Ios is still a young player that's, even if nothing else, has huge defensive upside. Letting Io walk would have been idiotic. You don't just let a player walk that you drafted, that you still have potential in, and it's not a huge deal, meaning that you're not really missing out on anything if he doesn't work out, right? So, no, I got to disagree with that. Definitely got to disagree with you on that one, bro. I mean, you're right to have your own opinion, but I got to disagree with you on that one. MC Season in the building says, Haize, I hope you're having a great day today. Hey, man, listen, I get to talk Bulls basketball today. I'm living my life, bro. Definitely living my life. We got a new sub in the hit building. It says, Haize, Big House 915 says, new sub, Celtics need NR. NR? Who's NR? The NR part ain't clicking with me, bro. I'm probably having a slow moment. It's probably not on you, but hey, I ain't got it. I ain't got it right now. Zion Williamson and porn stars. That is so funny. That's so funny. Wow. Oh, woo. That's a woo. I don't know why my brain put an extra W in there. Hustlers Fort says, woo. Let's go Bulls. Absolutely. Hey, bro, you a little bit too excited, man. We a little bit too excited, bro. You know, it is what it is. I'm ready to see my boy TC in the red, baby. Hey, listen, hey, man. I was gonna say a joke on that, but I'm trying to keep it PG this year, bro. We'll see. I mean, it's gonna come, but you know, it is what it is. You and Pat, the designer's first Locked On episodes were interesting. I'll leave it at that. Hey, I think people got to realize too, with me and Pat, we were both two people that you were used to leading our own shows, right? And so we wanted to not step on each other's toes while making sure we still directed the show. And you could feel that early on. And then I remember the episode where me and Pat finally clicked for me and Pat. It was a post-game show. It was after, damn it. We lost a tough game. I think it was to the Atlanta Hawks. Keep in mind, this wasn't last season. It would have been the season before. I think we lost to the Atlanta Hawks. And me and Pat were both so upset at that loss. And we both started going in on Trae Young. And at that point on, we were like, oh, yeah, this is the show. This is the show. And you always have, I think you have those click moments, right? Where it clicks, and then it never falls out of rhythm at that point in time. And that's how it was with me and Pat. Les Petty Roosevelt, who are you and what have you done with Haize? Listen, if you go back to last season, there really was not a lot of Petty Roosevelt last season. Really not a lot. Like I said before, it's okay to keep it PG, not less Petty Rose as much, but that don't mean you should lock the pettiness and lock away. Oh, by PG, I just mean, like, I'm not going to make as many X-rated jokes. I'm still going to curse a fucking storm, right? If anybody, I'll tell you what right now, if you're new to the channel and you get triggered by cursing, this ain't the channel for you. I love you. Thank you for supporting, but this ain't the channel for you because guess what? If the Bulls come on and play like absolute dog shit, I'm getting up here and I'm cussing motherfuckers out. That just is what it is. I'm going to go to the
Billy Don. Oh no, Chicago Bulls. Oh my God. Why didn't we sign Drew Holiday? Oh my God, the Bulls aren't serious. We let Dame Lillard go to Milwaukee.
Oh, best believe motherfuckers is still getting cooked for dumbass opinions in here. It's still gonna happen. And you still gonna get the fake Zach LaVine.
I really wanted to come into this season, and we really wanted to, shoot more threes, and I feel like between my evolution and, we really do believe in Kobe White as our starting point guard.
Everybody's still getting cooked in this motherfucker. Make no mistake about it. I'm still cooking the shit out of anybody who comes in here tripping. My motto this season is don't start none, it won't be none. You come in here tripping, you getting cooked. It is what it is. You're getting cooked. Y'all see Reggie don't come in here no more, right? We didn't already flame Reggie mama. Reggie don't come in here no more. You know why? Because Reggie got cooked. He's not coming in here no more. So it is what it is, bro. No, y'all can still get this work. Make no mistake about it. Everybody can get it. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Kobe should start just because he played so well in the second unit last year from Samir. I mean, that's definitely a reasonable point. And I don't think you're bad. Like, now you have to look at, okay, who's bringing the scoring off the bench? But you want to find balance with your starting lineup, right? And so, and it could still be, and Billy Donovan's talked about this, just because somebody starts doesn't necessarily mean that they're still not going to get a lot of time with that bench unit, right? Because we can see Kobe be more of a facilitator, be more of somebody who comes off screens, gets shots. And then when Zach sits, we can see ball dominant Kobe, right? So it depends on that. And by sit, I mean when it's time for him to go to the bench. So it's really about not only just who starts and who comes off the bench, but how those minutes, who's on the court together at what times is going to be key as well. And that's up to Billy Donovan to figure out as the head coach. So we'll see. Haize, what's good? Time for a new show. Appreciate the quality you bring for us Bulls fans. Hey, that's what I do, man. I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Oh, shit, I remember that too, man. Hey, that was funny when old boy was walking around half naked in Pat's hotel room. You had to be there. You had to be there. I'm not adding any color to that either. I'm gonna let that live in what it lives. Take away from that what you will. We were doing a live stream and there was a half naked man in the background in Patrick Williams in Pat the designer's hotel room. Take that for what you will take it for. That's all I got to say on that one. That's all I got to say. Boston needs Nikola Vucevic is what I meant to write for center. Oh, well, they can't have him, period. Boston can go and shove it up their ass. I ain't trying. Listen, Boston need to figure out how the fuck they are paying $70 million for a player that can't dribble with his left hand. Like, that's what they need to figure out. I love Jaylen Brown. He's a dog at times, but the fact that motherfucker can't dribble with his left hand is wild to me, bro. Wild to me. That's crazy. Reggie Mama Uter is still an express lane open. Hey, listen, Reggie Mama listen, bro. She make Mariah Mills look like a nun, bro. Reggie Mama is out here wilding, bro. Wilding. Everything Bulls in the building says, yo, the season's finally here. Definitely agree with you, bro. Definitely agree with you. Big House says, love you, bro. Love you too, man. Glad to have you in the building, bro. But all right, y'all, man, we're going to go ahead. We about 5 minutes away from game time. I'll be back at halftime. Make sure you guys stay tuned in. I'm going to try to get the halftime hangout scheduled by the end of the first quarter just so I can get a feel of when the halftime is going to happen. But we'll be back for our halftime hangout, and we'll be back for the post-game show. As I like to end everything on, man, love you guys. Go Bulls. See Red. Let's get this done.